Hello everyone and welcome to our live streaming today. It's auction week and Luxury Watch Auction 18 is live and ready for your viewings and biddings, and it's running until this Saturday, the 25th of March. And during the blessed month of Ramadan, our closing auction timing is changed. It's 10 p.m. instead of 7 p.m. So auction catalog is online and available for your viewing, and it's featuring a very unique and diverse collection of timepieces. And today we are lucky to have two special guests with us. On my right we have Martin, and on my left we have Rolf. Thank you so much, guys, for coming. You're very welcomed every time. Very special friends and guests to Timepiece 360. And each one today is sharing with us his top picks from auction 18 collection. But before we start with the collection, let me ask you about if you have some special tips and tricks or special bidding strategy for the auction that you can share with us.
Sure,
Okay.
Ralph.
Let's start with Rolf.
So I'm going the conservative way and saying, okay, since the auto bidding feature now exists, I would say put in your maximum bid in the beginning. That doesn't mean that you will pay the maximum bid in the end. You will just go to that level. The auto bidding system will get the increments. So example, I'm bidding 20,000 maximum. The bid is at 15,000. Somebody can bid 16. I will automatically bid 17. Somebody bids 18, I bid 19. But with 20, it will stop for me. So I can set my limit and say, okay, this is the maximum I want to pay for that watch, and that's it. The system will automatically make sure I still get the best deal, but I also don't go too high.
Yeah, using the auto bid is very smart to keep you safe,
Exactly.
hassle-free, peaceful
Yeah.
mind, and always winning. For
exactly.
you, Martin, what is your bidding?
So my strategy usually is to go at the very end. So I like waiting until the closing bids and then just kind of right to the last seconds throwing in a number. And usually that only works if you're buying something for the initial price, right? And my fear, I guess, is usually I see if I bid on a piece, that draws attention to it. That item now has bids. And that's kind of a red flag to people. Maybe there's something special here, right? And they look harder. So if you let it go all the way to the very end with no bids,
Yeah.
and then buy it at the very end, then you often can sneak in and get something for a good price. The other thing I've noticed is it only takes one other person, aside from yourself, to cause a bidding war. And I've had this a couple times on Timepiece auctions where you just immediately, one after the other, and the only hope that you can have is that this person is not paying attention during the closing phase. And then you can swipe in, take that last bid. Hopefully they cannot retaliate. Otherwise, you just drive the price up yourself.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
something along those lines is what I like to do.
At the closing phase.
I like the closing
You're
phase.
taking the risk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, maybe if it's something that's to die for, if I have to have it, then I might choose Ralph's approach and then at the end see what happens.
Well, yeah.
Amazing, guys. Thank you so much for the tips. So today we have 7, 8.
14.
Yeah. So 14 watches, topics from Martin and Rolf. Let's start one from Martin and one from Rolf.
Sure.
Sure. So I'm going to start with my first watch. This is my first watch that I ever bought. I bought it here at Timepiece 360. I think it was 2015. And it was roughly a brand new Tag Heuer Aqua Racer. The one that I originally purchased was the 500 meter with the ceramic bezel. This is the, of course, newer, larger variant. This one's 42 millimeters. Beautiful green bezel, green dial. And it's 5,500 dirhams, which I think for a dive watch of this caliber, pun intended, caliber, is a very good deal. And it's a very good gateway to these types of watches. And in 2015, I remember the price that I paid for mine, and it was 5,500. So it's surprising that so many years later, it's still running the same price.
Yeah. Very good.
Rolf?
So I'm starting with an IWC. This is the IWC Ingenieur Chronograph. It's Rudolf Caracciola, special edition. I'm sorry for pronouncing and butchering this name. He was one of the most successful drivers in the European Championship, which was the predecessor of Formula One in the 20s and 30s. So he is a very, very famous person. What I what particularly love about this watch, not only is the nice movement, of course, that's built in. It's a IWC version of the 7750 value movement, is the strap. This is a beautiful, I call it the Bentley strap because it looks like the stitching of a Bentley car seats, beautifully done. And you don't find many watches with this kind of strap. It's even in the IWC catalog, there's I think only this one. And it's beautiful. I love that watch. It's a very nice chronograph and for a very good price. Nearly half price of retail. It retailed 700, I think 700 or 750 pieces only. It's limited, so you get one discontinued. This one I think is about 13-ish at the moment, or 14,000 on the auction. Retail price was 27. Great deal.
I'm going to take your chronograph, and I'm going to run with the chronograph theme here. Let's go Zenith. So this is the Zenith reissue of the original CoverGirl. It's a good watch. It's a beautiful watch, beautiful blue dial, faux patina. I really like the look of it. But what I want to talk about is something that Ralph said he did not like, which I'm going to talk about the bracelet. This is the Zenith ladder bracelet, which if you see here has holes in between the links. So the H links are kind of cut out with these stamped holes, which makes it breathe a bit better. And the history of this bracelet is very interesting. So Zenith and a bunch of other manufacturers around the 1960s, 70s bought their straps or bracelets, sourced them from a company called Guy Frere. And this was a massive manufacturer of bracelets. And this was one of their original designs with the ladder. And in 1998 was acquired by Rolex, actually. So no more Guy Frere bracelets, but this is a very nice vintage reissue of a Guy Frere bracelet. So that makes it super special to me.
Mm-hmm. The opposite of the big leather bracelet is basically here this Royal Oak chronograph bracelet, which is made to exceptionally great tolerances. You have, basically there's no light coming through this. Any of the links or any of the connection pieces. It's a beautiful watch. Obviously, Royal Oak, everybody knows about it. A lot of people, don't really, let's say, it's a bit like Rolex, and when you see the first Rolex and you think, oh, no, it's not for me. Put these watches on your wrist. See how that feels.
I love how it plays with the light.
And it just works, right? And it's extremely comfortable. So having these watches on your wrist for the first time, you suddenly get it what AP, Audemars Piguet, is about. They are exceptionally well made. And they keep, of course, their value or even go up in value, especially if it's a Royal Oak in any kind of variation, especially this chronograph. Get it for a good price here.
Yeah. On the other end,
yes,
going up in value. Let's talk going down in value, right? Another AP. This is the AP Jules Audemars equation of time. And this is an absolutely fantastic, stunning watch. Very, very complicated. It is a perpetual calendar. It tells you the sunrise, sunset, as well as Ralph was explaining to me, it tells you how long or short the days are compared to the night. So basically each day...
compared to 24 hours.
Is it compared to 24 hours? Is it not the solstice? Because in the solstice, winter, summer, you have 24 hours, right? Or is that correct? You want to talk about it?
These 2 days is when the days are exactly 24 hours long.
Yeah, exactly.
But all the other days are actually a tiny bit shorter, up to 15 minutes, or a tiny bit longer than 24 hours. And that watch tells you for each day during the year of how much longer or shorter.
So if you look here,
the day actually is.
There's a sun. I don't know how well you can see that, but there's a sun, a third pointer hand right there, a little sun. And in the outer subdial here, it says +5, 0, -5, up to -15, and up to +15.
Yeah.
And that is telling you how much longer or shorter the days are compared to 24
we're still, of course, measuring 24 hours a day because it's easier
average,
for us,
of
right?
course, it's an
Otherwise we
average.
would be in trouble. But this watch shows you the difference.
Yes, and one thing that I want to point out on this one is specifically set up for Hong Kong. So each watch, because apparently these
Sunset and
sunrise is specific to your latitude. And therefore, if you want to change this to, let's say, Dubai, you would have to send this into Audemars Piguet, they would replace a few parts as well as the bezel or the inner bezel, whatever you want to call it, the reholds. And they would have another one that says Dubai. So these were extremely few and far between. They were rare. The retail price of this one when it came out was about 300,000 dirhams. And here you can get it for 75. I think it's 79, 75, somewhere around there. So it's an absolute steal for how complicated this is. Ultimately, it's an AP perpetual calendar, minus all of the other complications as well.
Yeah.
So it's fantastic how
Couldn't agree more. That's a fantastic deal. I mean,
Solid
you get a
gold as well.
Solid gold Audemars Piguet with a big complication in it. I mean, phew, that's a really good deal.
yeah.
So now my question is, go I with a good deal or with a big complication? I think I'll go with the good deals for now. This Blancpain, I think one of the best diver watches ever made. Blancpain 50 Fathoms Bathyscaphe. Personal favorite because I have one myself. It's the same model, just in blue. And I think this is a beautiful piece here. This is the ceramic version. So the case is entirely made of ceramic. The bezel, of course, is made of ceramic. The inserts in the bezel are made of liquid metal. So you see a lot of the Swatch Group technology being featured in these Blancpain watches first before they actually go into Omega watches sometimes. You have a beautiful movement here. It's the 1315 from Blancpain. 3 barrels, 120 hours of power reserve. That's 5 days. I measured mine once, fully wound, and then let it run out, and it was close to 7 days actually. And yeah, so you don't have to worry about anything. Taking this watch off on the weekend or even for nearly a week, you can pick it up and just wear it. 3 barrels are in series, so you have good precision as well. I particularly like in this diving watch that the date is on 4:30. I know that's controversial, but I like it because it gets out of the way. You have, if you really would be diving with this watch, which you can, 300 meters, water resistant, lovely screwed crown, also ceramic. And as you can see, it actually aligns. Good technology from Blancpain.
It's
The
very
logo.
nice. The logo,
It's upside down, but it aligns.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah. It
Very
does,
nice.
It does that, and it's a really nice watch on a canvas strap.
and it has the ceramic buckle, which you rarely see. Usually they have PVD coated stainless.
Yes, this is fully ceramic, and this strap is actually watertight. I went actually in the pool with mine, and it's perfect. I mean, it just actually is a strap you can really take to the water if you like.
Going from the water to not being able to get
Sorry,
it wet.
let me do one
Sure,
thing.
sure.
One bid is already in, so get your bids in now. It's already, I think, 19,000. This watch retails for 47,
Yeah,
and it's worth it. So, great deal.
Yeah, it's a very one. Another good deal, once again, from something that's water resistant to something that's not at all water resistant. This is a brand new, still stickered JLC Reverso, and this is the Tribute Special Edition. This is a monophase, which means there's nothing on the backside. Once again, still stickered. You can still see the factory stickers inside both. I love this sunray pattern that they have engraved here, this guilloche sunray pattern. Absolutely stunning watch. On this Fagliano strap, this is Casa Fagliano, which is an Argentinian bootmaker. So they commissioned the strap from them. And if you don't know, of course, the Reverso is a watch that has its heritage steeped in horse polo, basically the playing of polo, where the British officers in India would have to reverse their dial so that they wouldn't break the dial from rogue polo balls hitting them. So that was the whole idea of one of the first, I should say, sports watches.
Yeah. And that was the time when the dial, the glass was actually made of glass.
Glass,
not
exactly,
of sapphire
exactly.
crystal. So it was really shattering quite easily. So
And on top of
good
this,
protection.
the Casa Fagliano is a very well-known bootmaker for polo. So they're a polo boot, hence the connection here. It's a very polo-centric watch. So I also own this one on the Fagliano strap. So it's a fantastic deal, brand new once again, and I think it's going for around 24,000 at the moment, 23,000. This retails for right under 40. So I think it was around 39 or so. So it's almost half price at the moment.
It's a beautiful watch indeed.
It is.
Going with another classic before we go into the more niche ones here. Sky Dweller, Rolex's most complicated watch. It's an annual calendar watch that indicates the month with a little red dot here on the little hour markers. In this case, you see at the moment it's on March. Here there's a little red dot there, I think. Don't wear my glasses. Oh no, sorry, it's here. It's on June. June, right? It's set to June here. Of course, you have the date. See?
Where's it?
There's the red dot, right?
It's May. It's five.
May. Yeah, it helps if you can actually count. So, fifth month of the year. Yeah, May. So you have a GMT function. So you have in the middle a 24-hour disk. So you can use it as a GMT watch. You have an annual calendar. That means you have only 1 month in a year where you have to actually adjust it, which is the February, and unless it's a leap year. Then you still have to do it, yeah, sorry. But it's the annual calendar day. So you can control all of these functions via this bezel, which is actually turnable. This is wrapped in plastic, so I can't show you, but this has different positions. You can turn the bezel and then set the watch independently, the hours, the GMT end, or month and date, and backwards and forwards. So it's indestructible. You can set it at any time. There's no dead zones or whatever you need to do. You can just run and forget with this watch. It's a bit bigger. It's like a DateJust, just in 42 millimeters. It's a bit chunky, but it has a nice wrist presence. This one has the blue sunray dial, sunburst effect dial on the Oyster bracelet, one of the most wanted references of the Skydweller. So a fantastic watch. If you have the wrist, you can't go wrong.
Yeah. So we'll stick with Rolex. From one of the most wanted Rolexes to one of the least wanted Rolexes. Personally, one of my favorites. This is, of course, the Milgauss. This is with the black dial. And I don't know how well you can see it, but the green glass. This green glass was absolutely impossible, basically, to make, to have this green tinted glass. One of the other reasons I love this watch is because it has two-tone looms. So if you look at the loom plots, there's two colors that they've used here, which is also very rare for Rolex to be doing that. Now, the reason I want to talk about this, of course, is the Milgauss is rumored, it's been rumored for ages to be either discontinued or refreshed. So this is one of your last opportunities to get, for a good deal, one of these older outgoing models. We don't know what's going to happen with the Milgauss. Milgauss originally, of course, was created for engineers. Excuse me. The idea was that you could have or withstand 1,000 Gauss of magnetism, which is not very much compared to the modern Omegas, which are in today's world, of course. At the time, back in the 50s, that was a huge number. But now Omegas are doing 15,000, and most Rolexes are well in excess of 1,000 Gauss anyway, with the Cerachrome hairsprings and things like this. Nothing is really there to be magnetized. So it doesn't really leave much space for the Milgauss in the Rolex lineup. So it would be very interesting to see what happens. But once again, with this green crystal, I mean, it is such a weird watch. And I love weird things. So for me, I think this is one of the coolest in the Rolex lineup. So we'll see what happens. Watches and Wonders, April 1st. We'll see what happens.
Oh yes, I think. I mean, we're both eclectic collectors, so our collections are probably a bit off the beaten path. But this is actually a good advice for everybody. Collect what you like, collect what you love, collect what you like on your wrist and see, and it makes you smile. There is no rule for your collection. Right? Nobody needs to have a speedmaster if you don't like a chronograph that is not particularly water resistant. So that's not necessarily something that you have to have in your collection. There's no such thing. Just go for what you like and just wear it. One thing I wanted to add for this one, this green apparently, I mean, I don't know if it's true, but it's so hard to make that Rolex didn't even bother patenting it.
Yes, correct.
Because they thought
no one can do it.
It's too expensive. Nobody would bother doing it. So it's so hard to copy.
Exactly.
All right. My next pick, it's like we rehearsed it, but we didn't. It's also something funky. And this is the Moser Pioneer Center Seconds in funky blue.
Is that the actual name of the color?
Actually the name of the color. And if you see, it's a smoke dial.
Fumé.
Fumé dial, yeah, if you want to use French. So it goes slightly from the center to the outside and the changes in color there. It's a beautiful watch, has the HMC 200 movement. One of Moser's sister companies is Precision Engineering. They make hairsprings for a lot of companies in the very, very high range. They're not disclosing their customers, but they make around 40,000 hairsprings, which can give you an indication. Well, they only do about 100, I think about 1,000, 2,000 watches a year themselves under the Moser brand. You can also see a beautifully shaped case, very hard to make with these indentions, and of course also the engravings inside these indentions. Very, very well done. I mean, if you look at the quality of that, very nice. But it's also sporty. I think it's 120, 150 meters of water resistant, rubber strap, extremely comfortable. Yeah, you get a really high-grade watch in funky blue, not funky green.
Yeah. No, I love them. Moser, one of the early companies, I think 1930s, 40s, something around there, out of Russia.
I think even earlier than that.
It might have been earlier, maybe early 1900s. It was a Russian company, went defunct, I believe, after the collapse of the USSR.
Mm-hmm.
A Russian friend of mine has sent me a bunch of old, I'm talking to this camera. No, it was the advertisements for the old watches. And it said, "You're not Russian if you don't wear a Moser." And it was like these very communist era Russian propaganda about Moser watches. So then they went defunct. And then two brothers, Swiss brothers, apparently from the original Moser family, they had ties back to the Moser family, went and picked it up and bought it, and they are now running it. So I met both of them at Dubai Watch Week.
Yep.
Very young, very nice guys. Surprisingly.
I met the CEO on Dubai Watch Week in 2019. He was manning the stand, and fantastic, very funny
Exactly,
guy.
I remember.
Lovely person. At that time, I told him, Moser is out of my price range. I have one now, so
this is when they were doing
I have to go back to him and show him,
the Apple Watch. They had the what was it? The minute repeater that had nothing on it. What they were just displaying back in 2019.
Crazy.
It was basically an all black Apple Watch style case. Had no hours, no hour hands, no minute hands, nothing. Just one button, and it was the chime function for the minute repeater.
And it looked like an Apple Watch. Yeah. They like to take the mickey. They don't take themselves too seriously, but their watches are really serious business. Yeah. So, yeah, very cool.
Including. I know. Okay, all right. So going into my next piece, this is a Vacheron Constantin, extremely complicated watch. This is a perpetual calendar chronograph, moon phase, and it is absolutely. The reason I'm showing it to you is because it's absolutely stunning. Solid gold, 38 millimeter case, and the beauty of this is one of their most complicated watches. As you know, perpetual calendar is a grand complication. You combine that with a chronograph as well. It's a beautiful, complicated watch. And the price at the moment is 71,000 dirhams, which is an absolute steal of a deal, a bargain, if you look at it in terms of what you can get for that price. A GMT, a Rolex GMT is going for more than this. Yes. Basically. So absolutely. This is unbelievable, haute horology for the price point. So super cool, super rare. Can't see the case back because it is closed, but it is a beautiful, beautiful watch.
I have the same complication basically. Annual calendar with a moon phase. But this one is a skeletonized Cartier Pasha. Beautifully done. Solid gold bracelet. I mean, if you like the Pasha, which is an acquired taste, but this is a Genta design back in the days, and it has a high complication. This is one of the watches that was made in this era when they made high complications. They still do. They still do. Now they have also their own movements across the range. So really fantastic stuff. I think their department of high complications is
CPCP.
No, I don't know the name, but it's manned by a woman.
Yeah.
Pande, which is fantastic. So one of the best watchmakers in the world, and she's designing all of these different, or heading the movement development for all of these different high complications. And if you see in the back, come and look at that watch. If you like the Pasha, this is an amazing piece. Not very many of these are around. Same as, and I'll just go for the last one and then switch over to you. You do the last one. Like this FP Journe Centigrade S. Don't have to tell you much about FP Journe. If you know, you know. If you ask your mom and dad about FP Journe, they have no idea what you're talking about. But the watch aficionados are in awe. Everybody who
It's one of the first independents that was truly mainstream, I guess.
Correct. Has some ties with Chanel. Chanel owns 20% of FP Journe, so that's why you see also a lot of Chanel complications now coming up in their watches. So there's a bit of a cooperation
FP
there.
Journe got his start basically in Winston, Harry Winston,
Correct.
with Max Busser's
selecting.
Correct.
Yeah. And of course you have this this watch here in particular is hand wound. Centigrade S means hundredths of a second. Is made of titanium. You can't see, but this watch is feather light. It's absolutely
surprisingly
amazing.
light.
And of course, this pop of yellow on the dial. I mean, watch, aficionados will know this watch from across the room and will identify you having a really major piece on your wrist. So, fantastic watch.
It is a really major piece. It's a very good way to. This is one of those Grail watches that a lot of people have. Going from $500,000 dirhams to 10,000. My last selection is for the ladies. This is a Bulgari Tubogas in solid gold. It is a quartz movement, so nothing special there. But what is really cool is, once again, it has this Tubogas bracelet, which is a expansion style bracelet. Super cool. I'm a fan of Bulgari, the Octo Finissimos we talked about last time. But for women, I love the Serpentini. Mm-hmm. Or the Serpenti. And this is the same bracelet style as on the Serpenti, but in solid gold. And it's an insane bargain. It's going for 14,000 dirhams right now for a solid gold watch, which is absolutely nuts. So
I agree.
It's such a cool piece.
Yeah, get your wife a nice present.
Exactly. So.
We're done.
Done.
Thank you so much, guys, for the amazing picks and for the lots of information that you give us today. So again, closing auction will be this Saturday on 25th of March at 10 p.m. instead of 7. Tune in and stay with us for more. Thank you.